Hello everyone, you are on the channel Who Created It and How. Today, we're diving deep into a question that seems simple but has a fascinatingly complex answer. Who created the first statue? Now, if you're picturing a lone artist chiseling away at a block of marble, think again. The story of sculpture is as old as humanity itself. To find the very first statue, we have to travel way back in time. I'm talking about the Stone Age, tens of thousands of years ago. Our journey starts with a tiny yet incredibly significant artifact known as the Venus of Hohlfels. Discovered in a cave in Germany, this figurine, carved from a woolly mammoth tusk, is dated to be between 35,000 and 40,000 years old. It's an abstract representation of a female figure, with exaggerated features. Standing just a few centimeters tall, it's small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. Was it a fertility charm, a goddess idol, or something else entirely? We don't know for sure. But what we do know is that it's one of the oldest, undisputed examples of human art and sculpture ever found. It proves that even our earliest ancestors had the impulse to create, to represent their world in a three-dimensional form. This wasn't just a tool, it was an object of meaning. But the Venus of Hohlfels isn't alone. Around the same period, another incredible discovery was made in a nearby cave, the Lion Man. This is a truly mind-bending piece. It's a hybrid figure, part human and part lion, also carved from mammoth ivory. It stands about 30 centimeters tall, making it much larger and more complex than the Venus figurine. The skill required to create the Lion Man is astounding. The artist had to meticulously carve the tusk, shape the features, and polish the surface, all with primitive stone tools. This wasn't a quick doodle. It was a dedicated project that would have taken hundreds of hours. The Lion Man suggests a sophisticated belief system. It's not just representing what they saw, like an animal or a person, but what they imagined. This statue is evidence of early religion, mythology, and storytelling. It represents a major cognitive leap for humankind, the ability to conceive of and create beings that don't exist in the natural world. So we have these incredible ancient examples from Europe. But what about other parts of the world? The story of sculpture isn't confined to one continent. Let's fast forward a bit about 20,000 years to the end of the last ice age. Around 13,000 years ago, in what is now modern-day Turkey, we find the statues of Göbekli Tepe. This site is a game-changer. It's a massive complex of circular enclosures and monumental T-shaped stone pillars, some standing up to 18 feet tall and weighing several tons. Carved onto these pillars are intricate reliefs of animals: foxes, lions, snakes, and vultures. These aren't just small, handheld objects, they are monumental public works of art. The people who built Göbekli Tepe were hunter-gatherers, which completely upends the old theory that you need agriculture and settled cities before you can create massive architectural and sculptural projects. These pillars, with their stylized animal forms, are essentially the world's first known temple, built around statues that were central to their rituals. Now, as we move from prehistory into the dawn of civilization, the purpose and scale of statues change dramatically. Let's head to ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, around 3000 BCE. The Sumerians were among the first to build cities, invent writing, and create complex societies. And they also created a new kind of statue, the votive figure. These were small statues, usually made of gypsum or limestone, depicting worshippers with wide, gazing eyes and clasped hands. They were placed in temples as stand-ins for the actual person, offering continuous prayer to the gods. Unlike the prehistoric figures, the identity of these statues was sometimes recorded. We know they represent specific individuals, even if their faces are stylized. This marks a shift from representing abstract concepts or gods to representing individual human beings and their relationship with the divine. The focus becomes more personal. Next, we journey to ancient Egypt, a civilization practically defined by its monumental sculpture. You can't talk about statues without talking about the Great Sphinx of Giza. Carved from a single massive limestone bedrock around 2500 BCE, the Sphinx is a colossal statue of a mythical creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human, believed to be Pharaoh Khafre. It's an icon of ancient engineering and artistry. But the Egyptians didn't just build big. Their statues were deeply connected to their beliefs about the afterlife. They created thousands of statues of pharaohs, gods, and goddesses. These statues, known as K statues, were meant to be a resting place for the soul, or K, of the deceased. They were carved from durable materials like granite and diorite to last for eternity. The style was rigid and formal, with figures often shown striding forward, exuding power and timelessness. The purpose wasn't to capture a fleeting moment, but to create an eternal vessel for the spirit. From the rigid formality of Egypt, we jump across the Mediterranean to ancient Greece, where a revolution in sculpture took place. Around the 6th century BCE, the Greeks began creating life-size statues of young men, known as kouroi, and young women, known as korai. Initially, these figures were stiff and heavily influenced by Egyptian art. But over a couple of centuries, something amazing happened. Greek sculptors became obsessed with naturalism and idealism. They studied human anatomy, proportion, and movement. Think of works like the Critias Boy from around 480 BCE. This statue is one of the first to display a naturalistic pose called contrapposto, where the figure's weight is shifted onto one leg, creating a subtle S-curve in the body. It looks relaxed, alive, and human. The Greeks weren't just creating eternal homes for souls, they were celebrating the beauty, potential, and perfection of the human form itself. This pursuit of realism and ideal beauty would define Western art for centuries to come. While the Greeks were perfecting the human form, other cultures were on their own unique sculptural journeys. In China, around 210 BCE, the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, commissioned one of the most astonishing sculptural projects in human history, the Terracotta Army. This is an entire army of life-size warriors, horses, and chariots made from terracotta clay, buried with the emperor to protect him in the afterlife. What's incredible is that each soldier has a unique face. They aren't mass-produced clones. They are individual portraits. There are infantrymen, archers, and generals, each with distinct features, hairstyles, and expressions. The sheer scale and attention to detail are breathtaking. It's a testament to the power of a centralized state and the incredible skill of the artisans who created this subterranean army. Let's also travel to the Americas. The Olmec civilization, flourishing in Mesoamerica from around 1500 to 400 BCE, created some of the most enigmatic statues ever, the colossal heads. These are massive sculptures of human heads carved from volcanic basalt, some weighing up to 50 tons. They have distinct fleshy features and wear helmet-like headdresses. It's believed they are portraits of powerful Olmec rulers. The incredible effort required to quarry these enormous boulders, transport them many miles from the mountains without the wheel, and carve them with stone tools is a marvel of engineering and artistry. These heads were powerful symbols of authority, projecting the ruler's might across the landscape. Finally, we can't forget the iconic Moai of Easter Island, or Rapa Nui. Carved between the years 1250 and 1500, these monolithic human figures were created by the Rapa Nui people. There are nearly 1,000 of them, some standing over 30 feet tall. They are characterized by their oversized heads, heavy brows, and long ears. These statues, representing deified ancestors, were erected on stone platforms called ahu and faced inland, watching over the villages. The creation and transportation of these giants across the island remains a subject of fascination and debate, symbolizing the ingenuity and deep spiritual beliefs of this isolated culture. So, who created the first statue? The answer isn't a single name or a single culture. It was an idea that sparked independently in the minds of our ancient ancestors all over the world. From a small, personal charm carved from a mammoth tusk in a German cave to the monumental stone pillars of Göbekli Tepe, the divine pharaohs of Egypt, the idealized humans of Greece, and the terracotta soldiers of China. Each statue tells a story about the people who made it, their beliefs, their fears, their aspirations, and their place in the universe. The first statues weren't just art. They were technology, religion, and politics, all carved into stone, ivory, and clay. They were humanity's first attempt to make a permanent mark on the world, to create something that would outlast them. And thousands of years later, they still speak to us. What do you think was the main motivation for creating these first statues? Was it religion, power, or something else? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, who created it, and how. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into history. See you next time.